You know how it is, you want to stay in the loop, figure out what everyone's talking about online. But, let's be honest, finding the time to sift through everything, it's tough.
Yeah, totally. Endless scrolling.
Exactly. So that's what we're doing here. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding the stuff that actually matters.
Get right to the point.
Right. And today, we're diving into something that really got people talking recently. It's an Instagram post from Toronto rapper Top5, and it features, well, Drake.
The big one.
Yeah. This dropped Thursday, April 10th, 2025.
Yeah.
And trust me, it wasn't just another picture. It sparked a lot of conversation.
Way more than you'd expect sometimes from just, a social media post.
For sure. So our goal today, let's unpack this thing. Look at why people reacted the way they did and kind of explore the history between these two guys.
Yeah, because there are some, let's say, interesting layers there. It's not just straightforward.
Definitely not. And we're basing this on a recent report that kind of laid out the key details.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, right? How something seemingly small, like an Insta post, can actually, open up this window into bigger things.
Like what?
Well, like music industry dynamics, how we see celebrities, loyalty, all that stuff. There's definitely more going on than just a quick photo.
Okay, let's get into the post itself then. So, Top5, like we said, he shared a carousel, some pictures, some videos. Looked like a night out in Ontario. Drake was there.
Right. And the caption was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, just the president and the boy. Simple enough. But man, that first picture in the set, that's what really set things off.
And what's kind of wild is how the conversation almost immediately zeroed in on Drake's appearance in that photo.
Right, not just, oh, cool, they're hanging out.
But it was all about how he looked.
Yeah.
Which, it kind of highlights the insane level of scrutiny someone like Drake is always under, doesn't it?
Totally. The comments just blew up. People were hammering the angle of the shot. Someone literally wrote, "You did him dirty as hell" on the first slide.
Ouch. Yeah, it sounds like it wasn't exactly his best angle.
Not at all. And it wasn't just the angle, like you said. Some people seemed genuinely confused. We saw comments like, "Who the hell is that?"
Wow, so maybe he looked different enough from his usual, polished image that people were kind of thrown off.
Must have been. It makes you wonder, right? That gap between the super curated celebrity look and, well, just a regular, maybe less flattering moment.
Definitely. And then the comparisons started rolling in.
Oh, yeah. The one that really jumped out at me was someone asking why Drake looked like Jim Jones.
Okay, that's specific. Jim Jones. That's a very particular comparison to make.
Right. And it definitely got people talking, trying to see the resemblance or whatever.
It's interesting, that kind of thing, how online chat can just grab onto these visual comparisons, often based on just a fleeting look.
Totally. And the internet, nothing gets missed. So, of course, people started commenting on Drake's hair.
Oh boy. What about it?
Someone wrote, "How fast does my dog's hair grow, Roth? He just cut it and got the braids back already."
Right. So even something like how fast his hair grows becomes fair game for debate online.
It's wild, isn't it?
It really speaks to that whole parasocial relationship thing, Fans feel this closeness, this familiarity.
Like they know them personally.
Exactly. Almost like a one-sided friendship. And that kind of leads to people feeling like they can comment on anything, even hair.
Makes sense. Now, it wasn't all just about how Drake looked. Top5 himself, he seemed pretty hyped about Drake's success.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there was this TikTok video floating around where Top5 is basically celebrating Drake having the, quote, #1 song in the world. Just kept saying, undefeated.
Okay, so there's clearly, admiration there. From Top5 side, anyway.
Seems like it. He's kind of associating himself with that success.
Right. The TikTok, it kind of reinforces his whole narrative, doesn't it? That they had this close bond.
Which brings us to the history between them. Because like you said earlier, this Instagram post wasn't just some random thing.
Not at all.
These two have apparently been connected for years. Top5 often calls Drake his twin.
Yeah, that twin thing. That's pretty significant language, right?
Yeah.
Suggests a really deep connection, at least in Top5's view.
Definitely. And the story goes that they first connected through OVO bounce.
Right, Drake's basketball tournament, which apparently brings together a lot of the Toronto hip-hop scene.
Yeah, so that makes sense, right? Like a more relaxed setting, not some formal industry thing where connections could form.
Totally. A natural place for those kinds of bonds.
But here's where it gets complex, and probably why this latest post got so much attention.
Okay. The tricky part.
Yeah. Their relationship isn't just, casual hangs and tournaments. Drake has seemingly continued to support Top 5, even while Top 5's been facing some really, really serious legal trouble.
And this is the core of the debate, isn't it? Drake's ongoing association with Top 5, given all the legal stuff, that's what fuels so much discussion.
Absolutely. It raises all sorts of questions, like about friendship, loyalty.
And the responsibility that comes with having such a massive public platform, right?
Exactly. I mean, we're talking about a first-degree murder charge Top 5 faced back in 2019.
Which is incredibly serious.
Right. Now, those charges were eventually dropped. That was September 2024. Apparently, the evidence was ruled inadmissible.
Okay, so drop charges, but
But the report mentions Drake allegedly helped pay for Top 5's legal defense during that time.
See, that detail, even with the charges dropped, that suggests a really deep level of commitment from Drake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Way beyond just a casual acquaintance.
For sure. And it definitely raised eyebrows at the time, and still does.
You can see why.
And it didn't stop there. Earlier this year, January 2025, they were seen together, very publicly,
Where was that?
courtside at a Toronto Raptors game.
Okay, high profile. And this was after the whole legal situation, or during.
This was after the murder charges were dropped, but before his latest arrest. And importantly, it was also after WAC 100.
Oh, the music exec.
Yeah. He publicly warned Drake to cut ties with Top 5, called him bad news, even hinted he had damaging info.
Wow, okay. So a public warning from someone inside the industry, basically saying this association is risky.
Pretty much. And Drake still shows up courtside with him.
That really sets up a clash, doesn't it? Like personal loyalty versus maybe protecting your public image or brand.
Definitely. And then, like clockwork, just a short time after that Raptors game, January 24th, 2025,
What happened?
Top 5 gets arrested again. This time, 6 weapons-related charges.
Oh, man. And this wasn't long after he'd gotten out from his previous stint, right? He was in custody for like 3 years before being released in September 24th.
That's right. So released in September, seen courtside with Drake in January, arrested again later that same month. It's a pattern that's hard for people to just brush off.
Yeah, that timing is rough. It really amplifies the concerns people like WAC 100 were voicing, Yeah. It creates this narrative of ongoing legal trouble surrounding Top 5.
And makes Drake's continued support even more of a puzzle for a lot of people.
Definitely a major talking point.
It's almost surreal. Remember last fall, Top 5 was even talking about launching a podcast with Drake.
Get out, a podcast. About what?
Apparently, the idea was for them to analyze Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us.
Whoa. Okay, that would have been something. Can you even imagine?
Right. It never happened, obviously. But the fact that the idea was even floated?
It's revealing, isn't it? It suggests Top 5 saw that Drake connection as like a potential platform. Maybe to elevate himself, especially in that whole Drake-Kendrick beef context.
Could be. Or maybe it suggests Drake was at least willing to, entertain that kind of discussion with him. Hard to say.
True. And we also got to remember, Top 5 himself has a history of making some pretty, let's say, inflammatory comments.
Yeah, including actual threats aimed at Kendrick Lamar.
Right. And that stuff, it just adds another layer of complexity, doesn't it? It feeds into the scrutiny of why someone like Drake, who's so globally massive, stays connected to him.
It makes the association seem even more questionable to observers.
Yeah, it contributes to this public image of Top 5 as a really controversial figure.
Yeah.
Which makes Drake's loyalty, or whatever it is, all the more baffling for a lot of people.
Right. It really begs the question, what is holding this relationship together? What's Drake willing to overlook, and why?
Big questions.
So when you really break it all down, this Instagram post, which seems so simple on the surface, just guys hanging out, it actually cracked open this window into a really complex and, let's face it, pretty heavily debated relationship.
Totally. Between this global superstar and this local figure with a very controversial history and present.
Like a mini case study.
Absolutely. It touches on so many bigger themes, like we said before. Fame, loyalty under the spotlight, how social media shapes our perception of it all.
Which really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? You look at their incredibly different public images, their drastically different legal track records. What actually explains this connection lasting?
Yeah, what's the glue there?
What does it tell us about, friendship or loyalty when you're living life under that intense digital microscope? There are just so many layers here.
Definitely something to chew on, and clearly people are chewing on it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just look at the reaction to this one post. The amount of online discussion it generated is huge. People are clearly invested, and they have very, very different takes on what it all means.
It really shows the power of these moments, doesn't it? How one picture can spark these massive conversations.
For sure.
So hopefully this little deep dive has maybe helped cut through some of that noise, giving you a clearer picture of this whole multifaceted situation.
Yeah, laid out the key pieces, the context.
Exactly, giving you the info and maybe a little something to think about.
Until the next time something blows up online.
Right, until our next deep dive.